Hello, people. Welcome to this session. As you know, today is our feedback session, and we don't have a class per se. However, um, giving you feedback will take some time for me. So while you watch this video, I'll be giving feedback. At the very end of this video, you will also find the exercise. Once you finish watching the video, please send the exercise to my email. Okay? Now let me go ahead and show you what are we going to do. Our agenda looks like this. We're going to have a very short introduction with objectives. I'm going to teach you in this video three strategies, methods, and we're going to have one exercise. At the very end, of course, you're going to have your feedback. Now, the introduction is very clear. It says teaching note taking to A1 learners. You might think that when you ask your students to take notes, they know what to do, but actually, they don't. They will write whatever you have in the board or whatever you have on your presentation or whatever they can see or they can recall. You cannot check spelling. I mean, there are so many gray areas that you cannot take control. But if you teach your students how to take notes, you can ensure that your students will use the resource of the notes for later in assessment. Now, they can use this as chivos. Let's pretend that these chivos are going to be specific for them. So, the notes that they will be taking are not for you as a teacher. It will be the benefit of those notes will be just for them, which is fantastic because they can rely on those notes and recall the information that you presented to them. Now, which is the objective of teaching you this specific workshop or lesson today? The first thing is explain the value of note taking for A1 students. That's super important. Now, after that, you're going to learn how to apply three simple strategies for beginners. And at the very end, you're going to be able to design a 10-minute student activity for one strategy. Okay? Now, the first thing, why teach note taking? Number one, the first reason is improves listening and reading. You teachers are already trained on how to teach listening and reading, so you understand. However, note taking, as you know, is already one of the most important processes of either listening and reading. And now that you're going to start going over productive skills, this is going to help you a lot for the writing part. Okay. Now, reduces memory overload. This is super important because remember, these are A1 students. They're learning, they have a lot of information, new sounds, new words, new structures. And when they take notes, they can definitely take that information and just put it on a paper and they can go and recall the information once more when they have to study. They cannot retain that information. So it's important for them to take notes. Now, the third and last benefit that we see here is builds habits for later academic skills. So, yes, it will help them right now, regardless of the age, but definitely can help them a lot in the future as well. Now, I'm going to give you the scientific explanation of this because it's not only something that I want you to teach them because it's nice, it also has some scientific background. And let me show you. In neuroscience, we learned that there is a connection between the brain and the hand. So the fact that they take notes um, is because of these, because the brain has to decide what to keep and how to represent it. The information is stored more deeply. So this is super important, people, because whenever you guys are giving them things for them to learn through different activities, through I don't know, different designs, reading, listening, they have to find a way to represent it. Now, it's here in their brains, and then they have to transfer it somewhere. They definitely have to use note taking strategies properly in order to keep that information deeply. So the way they represent it is important. Now we're going to find in this presentation three different ways to represent that information. Remember, the notes are for the student, not for you. This is going to be very important because now that you will understand how it works, you can definitely help them choose whatever strategy is best for them. Remember, your students have different channels to learn. First one visual, second one auditory, and the third one is kinesthetic. Either way they represent it is going to be fine, but they need to find a way to do it. Now, this workshop will teach you these three different ways, but you have to learn how to apply them as well, also for your own benefit. So, the first thing, I need to go to your notebook or take a piece of paper or something, and I need to create this chart like this. It says topic. Of course, the topic is note taking strategies. And then you have subtopics, and you have like these squares, this structure. And inside of them, you're going to keep all the key points that you will learn in this presentation. Okay? So it's not only what I tell you in this video, but it is also what you practice with this. Now, can you please pause the video? Make sure that you have this structure ready in your notebook and then continue. Okay, so I believe you have already done it. Let's go straight into the straight strategies. Now, the first one, keywords list. Just as a short explanation, write only important words, not full sentences. Icons and abbreviations, images or doodles. And we have a third one, charts. Organize information in specific structures. Now, of course, I have all the explanation to give you, but I want you to watch a video with me right now to also help your understanding of these with a different perspective. So, everybody, let's please watch the video. Okay, I have already given you the video. Of course, you're watching it on your own. Hopefully, you took notes. Now, let's go over it one by one. Keywords list. The first thing I want to mention is the Cornell notes example or the Cornell method. Cornell method was invented in Cornell University and is really easy to use. It's a very specific template where you divide your paper into three small sections. First, you got the questions and keywords, then you got the regular notes, and then you got the summary. So, as you watched in the video, it's very easy to use, but it will organize information. It will organize your paper in case your students have new words, vocabulary, questions, and they can put it in one section. And then they have the regular notes, which they can use in full sentences, paragraphs, or phrases, or something that can help them out. And at the very end, a summary. Now, that is one of them. This is super easy. Everyone can do it, but definitely you have to teach your students how to do it before anything. Now, the second strategy, icons and abbreviations. As you can see here, we have colors, we have doodles, we have images. This is what it's about. Not all of the students receive the information the same way. So when they have to transfer it into paper, they prefer doodling, creating those little images. But here is something that you have to take into consideration. If you want to use icons and abbreviations in your class, you have to be fast. You have to draw fast because you don't want students to be focused on the notes too much and then lose explanation, lose instructions, or you just get lost in all the activities that they have to do because they have to doodle. So if they want to do this, yes, draw fast. They have to capture main ideas. They can use bubbles, text, colors, frames, arrows, symbols, any type of symbol. And definitely, if you see that, they can use all of these resources to benefit themselves in the learning process. Now, so it's super important. If you want to use icons and abbreviations with your students, yes, teach them, show them examples, but tell them they gotta be fast. Now, third one, charts. As I already showed you previously. A chart like this, like the one that says topics, subtopics, and key points, can help you organize the information in your paper. And also depends on the content you're going to be teaching, because otherwise you can use the other one that you have on the right hand. Now, if you see there is a chart, you also have colors, but information is very squared, is very structured. Some students need more structure, and that is also fine. As you can see, we have lines and columns. All the lines and the columns have a purpose, and that is going to help you organize the information more effectively. Now, we also can have these type of charts, spider charts, table charts. You can use all of them. However, make sure that you teach your students how to design them. And please try to model that, okay? Now, I want to show you something, and let's analyze very quickly this poster. It says taking notes. We can take notes to hold what we learn. Yes, we have the same information that I just gave you, but in a poster. Can you see the colors? Can you see the images? Can you see um, the little titles? We have, I don't know, we have so many different parts of design here. And as you can see, you can learn a lot from it very quickly. But in the other hand, we have this other poster, which contains similar information, but it's larger. Now make sure that your students learn how to either do this one or this one. This one contains colors. We have a structure like a chart, is fantastic. We have titles. Here we have something similar. But as you can see, it doesn't only have doodles, it is also divided into sections, just like the previous one we learned in the charts. So we can have the little squares, and inside each square, you can find all the informations, you can find keywords, you can find colors, you can find headings, subheadings, you can find little notes. But please make sure that if you teach one of these to your students, that they have to use the complete strategy. You want them to use the strategy effectively in class, okay? Now, hopefully this was beneficial for you. Let's go into the exercise time. It's super easy what you have to do, but I need you to choose one strategy, either the list, the icons, or the cheat charts, or the spider charts, and I need to design a 10-minute activity with that strategy, using that strategy. That means if you're going to give them a reading comprehension and you're going to ask them questions or comprehension questions, either top down or bottom up, make sure that you ask them to use a chart, for example. Please fill out the chart, and inside the chart, inside the squares, you have the questions. You understand? It's like having the same type of exercises that you already know how to design, but in this case, make sure that they use a note taking strategy. Okay? Now you can have a listening, and you can ask them to draw all the icons. You can ask them to draw um, all the vocabulary words you listen. Or you can ask them, for example, to read a story, and from the story create a spider web, including the title of the story, the characters of the story, the setting, the problem, and you can create a whole chart using the same information from one story. I mean, it's super easy, but what you want is the evidence of learning to be organized into one of these strategies, okay? So thank you so much for paying attention to the presentation. Remember, I'll give you right now access to this video. I'll give you access to the presentation, and I will also give you access to the other video that I also referenced previously. Thank you very much. And remember, at the end of this, you're going to be receiving your feedback, and then I'm going to let you go. Have a beautiful evening. Bye.